Welcome to Policing TV. I'm delighted to be joined in this second video of a three-part series by the Commissioner of the Iceland Police, Commissioner Sigríður Guðjónsdóttir. So again, Sigríður, thank you so much for joining us here. In the second video, we're going to hear from you about the roles that the Icelandic police have. Quite a broad set of roles, and a little more about two or three of those areas to give our audience a bit more of a flavour as to what it is that you and your Icelandic police team do. So tell us the breadth of responsibilities that you have in your post and in Iceland.
Thank you very much, Bernard. We are like jack of all trades, but master of none, basically. There are 11 police organizations in Iceland. We have 9 district police commissioners, and I have worked in 3. I've been a chief in 3 of them, so I understand very much from the ground how it works. We also have a district prosecutor and then the national commissioner. But they are very independent, our district commissioner of police. So our job is to have we need to streamline and make sure that the services are similar, and we take care of the data systems and all of that, all the technical stuff. We also have the communication center for the whole, so the first response comes from us. We have the only armed police unit in Iceland. We have the national security unit, which is our equivalent of a security service, and we are in cooperation on the security matters. We are also doing the practical education of police officers. We have a vast international department. We have also the how we protect the highest office, protect democracy, to protect our leaders. We have that protection unit. And civil emergency, which has been taking a lot of my time, because I became national commissioner in March 2020, and I came directly into COVID. And when that finished, soon after, then we had these eruptions in Iceland, in the Reykjanes Peninsula. We're waiting for another eruption now. I think it's number 13. And what happened is that at the same time, we were given the task by law to build protective walls around the sensitive area in the peninsula. So we've actually been part of that team as well, and it all went through our office. So it has been quite a diversified task, to say the least. And then probably the most difficult part of my job is that we also have the returns, where we have to return people that have been seeking international protection. And I think that's the one that is the most difficult for me, taking women and children forcefully out of the country. It's really difficult. But mainly, yeah, and there's one agenda point that we put on the agenda when I came, and that was prevention. We did not have much focus on the prevention, because when we had the financial crisis, the prevention was basically just stopped. We had to have the response and the investigations, but prevention was almost non-existent in the whole country. So we were starting with that again, and that has been quite a focus for us now.
So this is in a country of some 400,000.
Yes.
It's strong. Your police force is, I think, around 800. Now, I'm not clear whether that's your particular part of it or across the whole, including the other commissioners that you described. But it's relatively small in international terms. You've mentioned that you have a diverse set of responsibilities, and you've tried to build into that the prevention element as well in your 5 years as commissioner. How have you gone about doing that? Have you been able to take on extra resource? Have you been able to get extra funding, or have you adopted some other mechanism in building in the preventer element that you've described?
I told you in the last section that my superpower is getting strong people on board. And my best associate, my most important associate for prevention is a former Minister of Social Affairs. Her name is Eygló, and she has ensured funding not from the Ministry of Justice, but more from the Social Ministry, Ministry of Health, etc. So we have been working across sectors, trying to make united approach towards those who are in a vulnerable position, mostly children, but also youngsters. And we are seeing the same trend here as in every other Nordic country. We are seeing children being used by gangs and in criminality. And even if Iceland is the most equal country in the world, I think 16th year in a row, there are still challenges for us. And I even feel it on my own skin, despite the stars and everything. So you can just imagine how it is when you're not in a position like that.
So you've described the bringing in I think a lady into that position of prevention. I got the impression, let me check this, that she was brought in from outside policing rather than from within policing.
Yes.
What is it? Is it important to bring people in from outside policing? Is it important to bring in women as well? You've mentioned that Iceland has a strong reputation for gender equality. Is that something that needs further addressing within the police?
We have addressed that certainly, and we've done a lot of things to change. And we are now working within the Vikings, that is our armed response unit, to try and find a way to get women in there that can pass the necessary tests. We had to adapt them, etc. Yes, I bring in people from the outside, but also bring in the positive leaders from the inside, and I mix them. And I think that is the most important, because if we are too closed off, then the danger is that we are not listening to the needs of the society. And I'm worried now because we have reached equality rather relatively fast, at least when it comes to the numbers. It's going, relatively well. But the problem is that just in the few last years, Iceland has become more and more diverse. Now we have about 20% of people of foreign origin, and that is not how the police is organized. So we have the opportunity with the National Commission, because we have so many specialists, like in most countries where you have national police, you have different skill sets than people that are servicing in the districts where you are responders mostly and investigators, etc. So we have people that are, doing all kinds of specialized efforts. For example, we were just putting up the entry-exit system now, which is mostly technical stuff, and then we are doing the education and all kinds of these issues. So I think having a mix of outside and inside is very important. But we also need people from of different origin. So we are trying to introduce that as well, and that's also a security issue. People often address equality and inclusion as soft issues, but in my opinion, it's a really hard issue, because everything about policing is about trust. If you don't have the trust in the community and you cannot reach the community, then people will not tell you, they will not call you, they will not seek your help, they will not help you. You will just be excluded from your work. So trust is the base. And to be able to have people trust you, you need to understand where they're coming from. And also about security issues, you have people in vulnerable situations. They are much more likely to lash out and do something that is, terrible, which we see in all communities. So it's also a security issue. It's not, in my opinion, a soft issue at all. It's a really, really hard issue. How do we treat our children? How do we treat people that come in the country? Are we aware of the situation that they are facing? We cannot send people to do community outreach out in the streets if the kids are inside in their computers. We need to have the outreach there. So basically,
Commissioner, we're coming to the end of this second video in the three. We'll come on to look more widely beyond Iceland in a second or two. Many of those watching this video, in fact, the vast majority of those watching this video will be from outside Iceland, whether in Europe or Australia or in North America, across Southeast Asia maybe, or elsewhere. What is it about policing in Iceland that you are most proud of, that you would like our viewers internationally to pay most attention to and perhaps learn from? What is it? What is it in Iceland that is an exemplar for policing worldwide?
I think there are a few things that we can be really proud of. We are a very open organization. We also have now the tradition of, if we are make a mistake, we own up to it. We apologize, we reach out, we try to be open and honest about everything that we do. We are now seeing more and more of the part of the media, how important that is. Now, before the media contacted us for information, now often the media people have information before we have it. We need to strike a balance and we need to protect democracy together. So I think that this openness, and also in Iceland, we are from a country that has quite a lot of national disasters. We have, small community. Everybody knows everybody. If you meet an Icelander, you can, speak for 5 minutes and you can find some common link. That's usually what happens. The Danish commissioner, Torkild Fogde, he always tells a joke that usually in policing you say, it's not personal. It's just, professional. But in Iceland you say, it's okay, it's not professional, it's personal. I'm not saying it is like that, but there is a point to it that we need to really be always on our toes, because we meet the people we are, arresting. We meet the families.
So it's a close, tight community. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
so what I think we do is, because of all these hats I was describing, all these different responsibilities. When I started out as a commissioner, I thought it was a bad idea to have all of this in the same office, that we needed to have a special security service. Civil emergency units always talked about, should it be police entity or not? But as I've been here, I see that it's all part of the same. We are like a harmonica. When we need extra power, we just pull it out. It's like an umbrella. And that's what happens in Icelandic community. When something happens, we just do our thing and we do it together. We can fight about all kinds of things before, but when it comes down to it, we are like one, and everybody has its role. Also the people that are working with NGOs, for example, working as NGOs, they are a very important part of our system. And volunteers also, when it comes to natural disasters, we have quite a big volunteer organization that helps with all of that. So I think the community is really good to live in when something happens. But like with policing, if there's not enough to do, if there is, when we have the peaceful times, then we might, use the energy to clash a little bit. And yeah.
It's fascinating hearing about the way in which you have prioritized prevention in your time, hearing about the way in which the policing community extends beyond policing into NGOs and into the individual communities themselves. Much there I can clearly see that others in other parts of the world can learn about police from policing in Iceland. For the time being, Commissioner, we're going to take a pause. We're going to come on in a moment or two to a third recording where we'll look at the state of policing internationally. But Commissioner Guðjónsdóttir of the Icelandic Police, for the time being, thank you very much once again.
Thank you.